Hey, my name's Ethan Canning. I work with NAI Business Properties here in Billings, Montana, doing full-time commercial real estate brokerage and leasing. Today, I want to talk to prospective tenants about the weird and bizarre lingo and terminology that you might expect. As you jump into our world and start looking at purchasing or leasing a building, you're going to find terms like gray shell, tenant improvement allowance, triple net lease, full service, all these different things. And so our goal is to help you navigate that and figure out what it is. One thing that we can talk about today is when you walk into a space, what's it going to look like? Maybe it is a gray shell, and maybe it's a vanilla shell. And this is a vanilla shell. So when we look at terminology, we will talk about vanilla shell and gray shell. So since we're in a vanilla shell, let's start with that. When you walk into a space like this 2,000 square foot retail space, you'll encounter conditions similar to this in a lot of spaces. Vanilla shell, if you see that on a flyer, you will know to expect a few things. Let's start with the floor. Typically, you're gonna have subfloor or concrete. Sometimes the flooring's gonna be in, but typically it's gonna be concrete. It'll be ready for flooring. Walls are going to be taped, mudded, ready to go, ready for paint. Not usually painted, but like this, they're gonna be white. Let's look at the ceiling. You'll typically expect lights. Also an HVAC system, which you can see through the middle, should be in. And sprinklers, if a space does need to be sprinkled, you should expect fire sprinklers, which you can see here as well. Moving over to the wall, as far as plumbing and electrical should be in. As you can see, all of these outlets are here. And then from a plumbing perspective, we've got an ADA bathroom in the back, so you'll expect to find at least one bathroom. Hopefully it's ADA, if not, it might not be a big deal. Moving to gray shell, if you're looking at a gray shell space, you'll typically see another term that's kind of confusing called TI allowance, tenant improvement allowance, and these are monies provided by the landlord to help the tenant build the space out. But in that TI allowance, sometimes the landlord does the work, sometimes the tenant does the work. But that's money provided directly to the tenant to take the space from gray shell to completion, and that's going to be given on a price per square foot basis. So typically on a gray shell, that space could take anywhere from $30 to $50 a square foot, sometimes more, to do a full tenant build out. On a vanilla shell like this, you might be only looking at $5 to $20 per square foot to build out, depending on what type of use, and that's typical what the landlord may contribute. If you're doing something like a restaurant, the price is going to be way over that, and typically the tenant would cover that piece. So moving back to gray shell, if you walk into a gray shell space, not like this, you're just going to find metal studs. You're going to find no plumbing, no electrical, no flooring, no ceiling, nothing. So like I said before, the price to improve that space to your tenant finishes that you're looking for is going to be a lot more expensive, and typically the landlord will contribute to that pretty significantly. In my experience, they'll contribute probably all the way to this vanilla shell condition, and then beyond that it becomes a negotiation based on lease term and what rate you're offering as to who pays for the rest. So as you navigate commercial real estate, you're going to find terms like TI allowance, vanilla shell, gray shell, and a few things that you'll probably never seen before. So the important thing is to understand what those mean, understand what you're getting yourself into, understand how much that might cost you, and then as you jump into the lease negotiations, understand the roadmap of, should I expect the landlord to pay this? Should I expect myself to pay this as the tenant? So I'd advocate, when you're going through that process, find an expert, find someone like myself or another commercial broker in town, and let us help you move through that process from start to finish so that you find a space that works well for you.